We need to talk about this, the road safety for students. I have come across various things which has compelled me to make this video. In fact, there have been a lot of suggestions from some concerned parents on how things are happening when it comes to the commuting, going to the school, taking children to school, and there have been a lot of incidences also concerning road safety. So that is why it's very very important that we talk about this very important aspect, and this is basically for all the parents, for all the students, for all the teachers, the principals and everyone associated with the school system, and in fact it is for all citizens. Why? Because we all go and travel by the road, so it's very important for everyone to understand that this is an issue and we need to be careful and we need to take certain steps. So why we need to talk about this? First of all, especially in Shillong, it's very relevant, and we have a high number of schools concentrated in certain areas, especially in Shillong, and because of the narrow road conditions, it becomes even difficult to maneuver. Students are often seen riding two-wheelers recklessly without wearing helmets, not following rules. Then parents, guardians also sometimes engage in hazardous driving practices. Sometimes I've seen while they take their children, they don't keep it on the away from the road. The children is on the road side and the parents is on the other side. That's not the right way. We have to be very very careful when dealing with, especially with small students. And then there's a lack of overall, I feel, awareness as well when it comes to the traffic rules. So we need to talk about this. So the very first thing is that the requirement of a license. Anyway, you cannot have license till the age of 18. Of course, you can have learner's license, but then you need somebody with a valid license while you are doing that. So, but to get a license, it's 18 years of age, and from the transport department. So it's very very important. Those students who going to college, maybe they are of age, so they need to have the license first of all, and same goes with the parents as well. So I encourage everyone to ensure that they have valid documents, they know what they are doing before taking the children on a vehicle, on a four-wheeler, on a two-wheeler. They should know how to properly ride it. So these age and licensing requirements have to be met by all concerned. This is the legal requirement and very very important. Next is the use of helmet, and if you're riding a four-wheeler, then seat belt. So it is often seen that we take helmet as a hindrance. In fact, many a times we see people holding the helmet in one hand and then riding the bike as if they will just get to know that something bad is going to happen and quickly they will wear the helmet. That is not a really good idea. So I encourage everyone to make use of helmets. It's okay if it plays with if it disturbs your hairstyle for a while, but it is very important for safety. I myself have seen in certain accidents where the person was known to me and wearing a helmet, his life was saved by that, simply by wearing the helmet and seat belt, of course, in terms of four-wheelers. So this is a very simple but a very important thing which we often ignore. So we must ensure that this is followed by everyone concerned. Next is adhering to speed limits. So these speed limits everywhere, especially on the national highways and other places as well, is derived at very scientifically, along with the how much is the curve, how much is the slope, what is the angle. So it's derived in a scientific way, and we should adhere to it. And anyway, we should not drive or ride at faster speeds. Better late than never, as they say. What is there? You start early, start in time, manage your time well rather than rushing at the last. So of course, this is a very important aspect in the sense that schools have timings. So sometimes, you may want to reach on time. You're riding fast, you're driving very fast and recklessly. So that is not at all a good idea. You start early. and we adhere to the speed limit. So this is very, very important, especially for two-wheelers. It's very, very important. No overloading. Yes, sometimes we see a lot of people on a bike, so that should be avoided. And also, one very important aspect here is that the school buses and the three-wheelers which are engaged in picking and dropping students, they are seen sometimes to overcrowd above their capacity. So recently, I have issued an order with a direction to all these buses and three-wheelers. They have to display the capacity, how much is the capacity, and they cannot take more than their capacity. So this is very, very important. And while of course, I mean, like, if you're using your own vehicle, you should not overload, because that increases the chance. The vehicle is not made for over that capacity, so there are chances of things going wrong. Traffic rules have to be followed. Obviously, if you apply for license and if you get a license, then they test you with that, so you will know. But otherwise also, you should make effort to know all the traffic rules, and then what are we supposed to do on the road, how we are supposed to behave, what exactly, or while driving or not driving or walking. So we should be aware of all the traffic rules. So simply go Google it. It's everywhere. YouTube videos are there. See some basic traffic rules. And it's very important that you pay attention to all of them and remember them when you're crossing the road. So this is very, very important. Defensive riding. Now, this is an interesting concept that we should be. Awareness is extremely important. So when you are driving, you should be aware who is in front of you. Maintain a safe distance. Don't get too close to it. I know in Shillong it's like, lack of space, so we're just next to it, but maintain some distance, so that if the because you are not able to see what's beyond that vehicle which is in front of you, and sometimes suddenly if the vehicle in front stops, then it's a problem. So we have to maintain, especially in case of large vehicles, we have to maintain the distance. Otherwise, you will be the one getting more damage with these large buses and trucks. So you have to be very careful. Defensive riding, be aware when you are driving. Only focus on the road, nothing else. There shouldn't be any distractions. Your safety is of utmost concern here. Now, what is a parent's responsibility? Many parents are taking their children to school, so they have to play a big role, obviously, if they're taking own vehicles. So follow all these, whatever has been discussed in this presentation. Follow traffic rules, adhere to speed limits, be mindful when you are walking the kid to the school. You have to be really mindful while crossing the road, while walking on the road. Keep them on the other side, not near the road, because kids are they will move here and there. So always hold their hand and keep them safe. Do not allow underage students your kids to ride or drive if they don't have a valid driving license. And make them aware that this is an important concern, and they should focus on the road when they are riding or driving, or when you are also driving. So this is very important. School will play a definitely big role. You should organize from time to time awareness on road safety. This is extremely important. The teachers can do it in the extra period, or when it's a bagless days, this can be one of the theme. On awareness on traffic rules. So last time when we issued a school calendar, we talked about 10 bagless days. Maybe next year we'll include a bagless day for traffic rule to ensure road safety of our students. So definitely we want to do that. So school will definitely play a big role. And in fact, school should also encourage them to go for public transport. In Shillong, we have a beautiful system of STEMS buses. More than 30 are now been engaged. They've been engaged. So it's a wonderful, one bus replaces so many vehicles. So that will also answer our congestion issues in Shillong. So that's very, very important. And I hope these STEMs will get more demand in the future. Yeah, this is a big problem when you're driving. Otherwise also, it's not just taking your kids to school. So you should not use mobile phones when you are driving. So this is very, very important. Even when people ride bikes, they put the phone here inside their helmet, and it distracts you basically. And also don't listen I mean, I see a lot of people wearing earphones and headphones and riding, but that is a big problem because you will not hear the horns and you will not be aware of what's happening on the road. You'll get distracted. So when you are driving, please focus on that itself. There shouldn't be any distractions. So this is very, very important. There are cases where students are seen doing stunts and tailgating. So yeah, stunts. It's really dangerous for you, and be stay away from all these things. And tailgating, basically, you should not get too close to the vehicles moving. So we've already discussed that. So these stunts and all that are really very dangerous, and students should totally avoid doing this. Injury can disrupt your studies. Whatever the momentum you have built up will get disturbed. Maybe you'll lose a year, and in certain cases it ends up people students becoming dropouts. So this is a real concern. So don't do all these dangerous things. So the conclusion here is that the parents, the students, teachers, principals, schools, everyone on the road, basically, we all have to play a role to ensure that our children going to school are safe. And on a bigger picture, if you see the bigger picture, it's about road safety for everyone. But being the director of school education, I really felt that this needs to be talked about, especially with regard to the students, because we have so many schools here, especially in Shillong. So let's do our efforts and keep our roads safe for our students. Thank you. Kublai Shibun, Mithila.